All right, let's check in on the top business story of the day. Tension is rising between Alberta Premier Rachel Notley and in B.C., the NDP Green Alliance over the Trans Mountain Pipeline expansion. Joining me to discuss, BNN's Jameson Burko. All right, let's talk about this. What did Rachel Notley have to say about this issue?
She really threw the gauntlet down yesterday, Ben, trying to say, mark her words, in her words. The pipeline will be built. And of course, it's not so much her words as it is the words of our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau. He is really the only single person in this country who has the ultimate authority to say...
the legal right to decide where it goes, right?
Exactly, and it really comes down to political capital, though, of course, right? Because he does have the authority, whether he chooses to exercise it, potentially costing the Liberals a few seats in the Lower Mainland in the 2019 election. Potentially, of course, being the key word there is really the open question. But what we're going to be looking at BNN today is whether or not there's going to be, because of course Kinder Morgan just went public in Canada yesterday. The timing could not have been more, depending on your perspective, fortuitous or calamitous, but it was a pretty rough ride for the shares.
It was, but ultimately sort of steadied out, didn't it?
Right. In fact, it ended up down, I think, about 45 cents, but most of the experts we talked to say it's about $2 or $3 worth of the stock that's being counted as the potential for this project. The real challenge, though, I think anyway, is based on, you may have noticed I wasn't here yesterday, I was at the National Energy Roundtable where a few folks were, of course, commenting on this issue. And one of the key themes, and we're going to be sort of exploring this today and probably over the next several weeks, to be honest at this point, Ben, is whether or not this is just a horrible message to send to companies about, you know, that deal in January that Kinder Morgan struck with the BC government. That wasn't with the BC Liberal Party, it was with the BC government.
In good faith.
That it would be maintained regardless of whether there was a change. And it cuts both ways politically with things like a carbon tax and Andrew Scheer taking points against that now.
It's also interesting because as of right now, the NDP and the Greens are talking like they are going to form the government, but Christy Clark is saying not so fast.
Exactly. She technically is still the Premier of British Columbia. She can make a motion in the BC legislature. Of course, she's already signaled that it's pretty unlikely she would survive a confidence vote. But then actually, Ben, it's pretty interesting because there's no guarantee that the BC NDP and Greens will be able to, you know, not create a coalition, but an alliance, because the lieutenant governor there will have to decide whether or not to hand power to them or just call another election.
Exactly. So there's gosh, the intrigue out west is incredible right now. It's only rivaled by what's going on in Washington. Thank you so much for being here, Jameson, and you can follow how this story develops today on BNN.